Today, we're diving into the Mariana Trench. You've probably heard that the Mariana Trench is the deepest point in the ocean, where the pressure is 1,000 times greater than at the Earth's surface. It plunges to an incredible 11,000 meters, 36,000 feet, deep, a place where the pressure is 1,000 times greater than at sea level. To put that into perspective, if you were down there unprotected, your body would be crushed like a crumpled piece of paper in just a few seconds. But pressure isn't the only thing that makes this one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Temperatures are insanely low, darkness is absolute, and very few creatures can survive there. To this day, fewer people have visited the Mariana Trench than have been to space. And yet, despite all the challenges, humans have tried to explore this abyss. From the first submarines to modern expeditions, only a handful of adventurers have dared to descend to the bottom of this true underwater black hole. Now hold on tight, because we're about to go layer by layer into the ocean and see what awaits us in the deep. And I'll warn you right now, there are some terrifying things along the way. In case you didn't know, the ocean is divided into layers, each with its own characteristics. The deeper we go, the weirder and more hostile things become. And just to be clear, going down into the ocean is way worse than climbing a mountain. With every meter down, pressure increases, light fades, and the creatures become, well, a lot less friendly. This is the ocean's ground floor, where sunlight still reaches, and life is relatively normal. Here we find playful dolphins, massive whale sharks, which can grow up to 18.8 meters, 62 feet, colorful fish, and coral reefs that look like full-on underwater cities. It's also where humans do most of their ocean-related activities: fishing, sailing, diving, and those failed surfing attempts that always end in a wipeout. The water temperature here is comfortable, and marine life is extremely diverse. But as we go deeper, things start to change. Down here, between 200 and 1,000 meters, 650, 300 feet, sunlight barely makes it through. The environment becomes eerily dark, and the creatures that live here look like something straight out of a horror movie. One of them is the giant oarfish, a creature that can grow over 11 meters, 36 feet long. According to some legends, it appears before earthquakes and tsunamis. Is that true? Nobody knows. But let's be honest. An 11-meter-long fish showing up out of nowhere is terrifying enough. Another resident of this zone is the Japanese spider, crab with absurdly long legs and a leg span of up to 3.7 meters, 12 feet. In other words, a crab the size of a car. Now the light completely disappears. And that's when we enter the kingdom of darkness. If you thought it was dark before, down here, between 1,000 and 4,000 meters, 3,300, 13,100 feet, you can't see a thing. The ocean is pitch black, like a basement at 3 a.m. The temperature drops to an average of 4 degrees Celsius, 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and the pressure is so intense that a human would instantly implode without protection. Oh, and this is where the Titanic rests. The world's most famous ship sank in 1912, and its wreckage was only discovered in 1985. It lies nearly 4,000 meters, 13,000 feet deep, in total darkness, where the pressure is 380 times greater than at the surface. The ship is split in two: the bow, which plunged straight down like a torpedo, and the stern, which twisted in the air before being swallowed by the sea. Over time, metal-eating bacteria have been slowly consuming the Titanic, and experts estimate that in a few decades it might disappear completely. As for the creatures here, well, meet the black dragonfish, a predator that hunts using bioluminescence, emitting invisible red light to stalk its prey. It's like something straight out of science fiction, and it's not alone. The black sea devil also lurks in these waters, with a terrifying mouth full of needle-like teeth and a glowing lure on its head to attract victims. Yeah, it has a tiny glowing fishing rod hanging from its face, because nothing in this place can be normal. But we're not done yet. The temperature keeps dropping, the pressure keeps rising, and life becomes even rarer. Welcome to the abyss. If any name screams, "You don't want to be here," it's this one, abyssal. It comes from Greek and means bottomless. But yeah, it does have a bottom. It's just that no one wants to be here. At this depth, the pressure is about 400 times greater than at the surface. To put that into perspective, imagine a hippo standing on every square inch of your body. Yeah, and yet, life still exists here. Meet the fang-tooth fish, which has teeth so big that it can't even fully close its mouth, meaning it always looks like someone who just saw their overdue bills. Also down here is the USS Johnston, a destroyer from World War II that sank during the Battle of Leyte Gulf in 1944. It was found in 2019 at a staggering 6,456 meters, 21,180 feet deep. Unlike the Titanic, though, the USS Johnston is incredibly well preserved, thanks to the freezing water and lack of marine life in this region. And if you thought the ocean ended here, sorry, we're not done yet. Beyond this point, we enter the Hadal Zone, the most extreme environment on Earth. Less than 5% of the ocean has been explored at this depth. It's basically an alien world on our own planet. The pressure reaches 1,000 times that of the surface, and life, when it exists, is scarce. Only highly adapted microbes and tiny invertebrates can survive here. And trust me, Darwin himself would be shocked at how these creatures evolved. To survive down here, animals had to develop biological warfare tactics straight out of a sci-fi movie. Let's check out some of the most impressive ones. Even though they don't live at the bottom of the ocean, some mammals can dive to insane depths. Sperm whales. These are the kings of deep diving, reaching depths of 2,500 meters, 8,200 feet, to hunt giant squid. If there's a real-life sea monster, this is it. Humpback whales. They can dive 600 meters, 1,970 feet deep, which is already impressive for an animal that weighs up to 40 tons. And speaking of giant squid, have you ever heard of them? Well, they're real. If you think the Kraken is just a myth, well, think again. Giant squid are real and can grow up to 20 meters, 66 feet long, with eyes the size of dinner plates. They live at depths between 300 and 1,000 meters, 980 to 300 feet, and are ferocious predators. The first ever footage of a live giant squid in its natural habitat was captured in 2012 off the coast of Japan at 900 meters, 2,050 feet deep. And if you think a 20-meter squid is terrifying, just wait until you see the nightmare fish that live at the very bottom of the ocean. Now we're entering pure nightmare territory. Snailfish, 8,336 meters, 27,350 feet. This is the deepest fish ever filmed. It lives in the Hadal Zone and looks like a tiny, gelatinous alien. Black swallower, 2,700 meters, 8,160 feet. This one has a bizarre ability. It can swallow prey 10 times its own size. How? Its stomach expands like a balloon. Black dragonfish, 10,000 meters, 32,800 feet. The true king of darkness. It hunts using infrared bioluminescence, a trick that makes it invisible to its prey. The deep ocean is so extreme that these creatures had to become real-life mutants just to survive. But believe me, there's one last challenge to face. Now that we've met the bizarre inhabitants of this world, let's talk about the human expeditions that have dared to explore these depths. You know how humans are. We're stubborn. If there's an unexplored and dangerous place, we'll find a way to go there, even if it's just to say I was first. And that's exactly what happened with the Mariana Trench. Let's take a look at some of the most mind-blowing expeditions that have reached the deepest point of the ocean. In 1960, at the height of the Cold War, the United States decided to dive deeper than anyone in history. To do that, they built the Trieste, a submarine designed to withstand insane pressure. It reached an incredible depth of 10,911 meters, 35,797 feet. The crew consisted of Lieutenant Don Walsh and Swiss scientist Jacques Piccard. The inside of the submarine was so tiny and claustrophobic that they could barely move. Halfway down, one of the Trieste's windows cracked, and they kept going anyway. When they reached the bottom, instruments recorded a freezing temperature of just 34 deg Fahrenheit, and the pressure was equal to 1,000 elephants crushing every square meter of the submarine. After spending just 20 minutes at the bottom, Walsh and Piccard decided they had tested their luck enough and started their ascent. It took them 3.5 hours to reach the surface. And believe it or not, no one dared repeat this feat for over 50 years, until a certain movie director decided to take a shot at it. Yes, James Cameron, the guy who directed Titanic, decided that making one of the most expensive films in history wasn't adventurous enough. In 2012, he designed and piloted the Deep Sea Challenger. a high-tech submarine to dive into the Mariana Trench, alone. He reached 10,108 meters, 35,787 feet, just a few meters short of the Trieste's record. He spent 70 minutes at the bottom, collecting images and samples. The entire mission lasted about 7 hours, with the ascent being much faster than the descent. Cameron described the ocean floor as a lifeless desert, with absolute silence and a seabed covered in fine sediment. He also recorded incredible footage, becoming the first person to film the deepest point on Earth in high definition. And after this cinematic adventure, China decided to join the race. China didn't want to be left behind. In 2020, they sent the Fendu submersible to explore the Mariana Trench. It reached 10,909 meters, 35,191 feet, making it one of the deepest dives ever recorded. The mission broadcasted live footage, something never done before at that depth. It collected biological and geological samples, helping scientists better understand this extreme environment. Deep-sea exploration technology is advancing fast, and who knows? In the future, we might even have research stations at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. But for now, this world still belongs to the bizarre creatures and the unsolved mysteries of the ocean. And that's how our journey ends, at the deepest place on Earth. The Mariana Trench remains one of the greatest mysteries of our planet, an almost untouched abyss, filled with bizarre creatures and secrets we have yet to uncover. Now tell me, would you have the guts to go down there? And of course, if you enjoyed this story and want more sea legends, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. And if you know someone who needs to hear this lesson, share this with them. Now click on the video popping up on your screen to watch another unbelievable story from the sea. A big hug, and see you in the next sea tale.